Okay, everybody, welcome back to another Challenge Chats podcast. And today we have with us the 2019 Student of the Year, Cole Nickolls. Hi, Cole.
Hi, how are you?
Uh, Good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, getting by in sunny Miami, Florida. Um, Not in the cold. I don't know how warm it is up there, but
Yes.
it's been
It's
pretty sunny.
actually, PA has somehow been holding up as of right now. We're going to see how long that lasts, but
Yeah, it's been cold the last few years up there, but I haven't been up in a while, so
yeah, luckily we've been holding in this year. I'm very excited because I'm like, um, but okay, so student of the year from 2019. It's nice to see that we still like have a lot of connection with a lot of you older student of the years. So I wanted to start off right at the top. I was like, might as well get to like the main question. So it's been about 5 years since you were the student of the year. How has like life been since then, and how has TCP still affected you since then? Have you still thought about some of the life lessons that you took away?
it's so crazy that you say 5 years because it feels like it was yesterday. Um, I think that TCP just for me over the years, just in high school and to now, just holds value in my life in so many different ways through the people I've met, the experiences I've shared, the opportunities it gave me. I meeting Mel and Barb and all the other staff at TCP, they changed my life. I mean, I think now going into what I'm doing, being in the workforce now, um, the values of what I've learned have really shaped
Mhm.
me. I feel like I've been able to go into the workforce and be prepared to take on whatever it is that's thrown at me. And I think that it still gives me that small town understanding of honesty and integrity. And I
Yeah.
think that that's what TCP really is all about is being who you are and being able to challenge yourself for whatever life throws your way. So I think now in my life, in adulthood, if you will, I think now I've really learned to really embrace what matters to me most and always remembering where I come from. And I think that has a lot to do with TCP.
That is so awesome. So yeah, it sounds like you've taken the 5 years and really like ran with it, finding a lot of success and being inspired by like your we'll say modest roots.
Yeah, full force, I mean, I came to Miami unexpectedly. I mean, originally I was supposed to go to New York for college, but the pandemic, hit on my
Hmm.
senior year. So I ended up coming to Florida, which was honestly a great decision for me. I've really been able to thrive, and I'm working in like real estate property management. So I'm working a lot with fair housing and trying to make my difference in that little niche part of the workforce industry.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's been a great experience, and a lot of it's thanks to TCP and preparing me for the challenges that I'm facing. So, and pushing
that's so
forward.
awesome. Yeah. Yeah, no, and that's so awesome. I think that you are like a great example of we've had lots of student of the years in the past that have found a lot of success, either like staying in their hometown and like moving up in a local industry, or
Hmm.
like moving to places like Pittsburgh and Philadelphia and like really growing inside of PA.
Yeah.
So I think that you are a great example of like you took a lot of the successful lessons that you got from your upbringing and took them down to another state. And now you've like explored and like seen a lot of opportunities down there.
Yeah, I think it's been a really rewarding experience because I knew growing up that I wanted to branch out
Mhm.
and spread what I've learned where I'm from. Because like where I'm at right now in Miami, it's surrounded by a lot of Latin culture. So it's a lot of people that are here internationally that have immigrated here and they've established their lives and their culture. And I feel like I've been able to see a whole different world that I never would have where I was. And I also feel like a lot of my friends now and the people I work with are able to see, a little bit where I'm from, even though they're not physically in PA, they're still
Yeah.
getting the PA boy. So I think
Yes, yeah. No, and that's
yeah,
so awesome. That is like so interesting that you were able to like get those kind of opportunities and it was really great. Um so yeah, they always say that like in retrospect everything is like a little simpler. So that was one really great thing that I wanted to like tackle is like now that you've like been in the adult world and tackled a lot of like challenges and even like moved away, found a lot of success. And I think that it's so helpful that you are still like integrated down there and helping individuals, it sounds like, which is really like great because lots of people want to find success in like helping individuals. So it's so great that you're able to like explore that. Um, so like looking back for all of our like juniors and seniors that are looking towards graduation, is
Yeah.
there anything that you would give them as a piece of advice now that you have some retrospect on your junior and senior year that you would give to them as like a lesson to help them find success as they get into graduation?
Yeah. I would say embrace every moment. I think that there's nothing more important in life than taking up space. And I think that even looking back on my life, after winning Student of the Year and prior to that, and then now into adulthood, I think that your high school moments are so precious. And
Mm-hmm.
you have a program like TCP that's really there to help you succeed with people that are go getters, full force, trying to make a difference in education and in the workforce and helping the youth. And I think that to embrace the moment, embrace what TCP is offering, and take that challenge and keep going. I think that's really honestly my greatest advice, and honestly how it can relate to TCP as well, because it is such a life changing program. It was for me, and I know it has been for many other people, whether they were a student of the year, whether they were a finalist, whether they applied, or whether they simply have won an award in a school. I think the program really is challenging students to go out there and make a difference, which is exactly why I love the challenge program and how it changed my life. So, yeah, I think that's what my advice would be to them, and to enjoy every single moment, because trust me, when you get to adulthood, you have a lot more responsibilities. So, embrace the moment, challenge yourself, and do good in the world. That's my greatest advice.
Yes, I think that is so terrific. Real quick. Yeah, so I think that is great advice. Back on back on subject.
Back on
Also,
track.
everybody ignore my background. We were having a few camera issues. um, so yeah, I think that is. I think that is terrific because it is. I think that some students forget, and we've been talking to a lot of businesses about this. That a lot of students forget that like high school is important and it's a big stepping stone for so many students.
Yes.
But it's a stepping stone. Like you turn it into success. So
Yeah.
you need to make sure that you're like utilizing every step of your success and not just being like, well, I'm going to be a millionaire one day, so I'm just going to roll over this part, you know?
Yeah. And that's what I like to say. I've always said, high school, it doesn't define you,
Mhm.
but it surely does, and it can uplift you. And
Yeah.
I think that it really can change your life. And the challenge program, for example, is just a great way of showing how it changed personally my life. So many opportunities I had for college. I mean, I can't tell you how many interviews I did and how many like applications I had for college. And when I would talk, when I went to even my admissions counselor had asked me directly, like, what was this award? Like, they were so intrigued by
Oh.
it. So I feel like it was just an awesome opportunity, and it uplifted me in ways, not just because of the award, but I think it was just
Even
very
though it is nice.
it's nice. Um, but I think that it really stood out on my
Mhm.
applications. I think it was just something different that not a lot of people were bringing to the table. And I think even just winning the award in general, it just made people question, like, what is this? I think what the challenge program
Yeah.
is doing is very innovative. And I think that they're bringing a new perspective to encouraging students to go out there and be successful in their career. So,
Yeah, and that is so great. Yeah, and we mention that to the top 10 even because all the top 10 get an award for being in the top 10
yeah.
like finalists.
Hmm.
We always mention that is like a really big resume builder. And also we spend those like few weeks with all the top 10. Obviously the top 3 we spend a lot of time with because we have to do their videos and everything. But all
Hmm.
the top 10 we talk to their schools, we talk to their guidance counselors, we talk to them a lot. So I always mention like you can always ask the challenge program for like references, talk to us about stuff
Correct. Yeah.
because it's such a big thing because we spent a lot of time with you so we can write a short little letter just
Yeah.
talking about like why you made it into the top
Yeah.
10 and what it is, you know?
And you can't be deterred. I mean, I don't know if you knew this, but I was originally a top 10 finalist my first year that I applied.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and then the second year I won. So,
Oh,
and I wrote
wow.
about that in my application for Student of the Year, because, in the moment, it's a bummer. Sometimes when, like, there's something that has been so life changing for you, and it was a program that you really took the initiative. Um, and that's what I had talked to Mel and everyone about was I was like, you know what? Next year I'm gonna write a whole new application and I'm gonna really put my heart and soul into it. You know what I mean? I took it as a learning
Yeah.
lesson that it's not about my story. It wasn't a reflection of who I was, but it was rather it just wasn't my time.
Yeah.
And I really took that opportunity, and that's like also the advice to anyone out there that is applying for student of the year or really wants to make a difference. It's all in you. It's all in you. Take those lessons in life and continue to go out there and be better and be a go getter and to never
Yeah.
give up. And that's kind of how I felt, you know. And here I am, 5 years later after I won.
Yeah, yeah, and we've had so many. Like this year, I think all of our top three, none of them were seniors. They were all juniors, I believe. And so that's one thing I was like talking to a few of them about when we were doing videos. All the top 10, we had a lot of
Yeah.
like sophomores and juniors. As
Hmm.
I was like, guys, just because you like get in the top 10 once doesn't mean you can't get in the top 10 again or
Again,
might make it to the top three or
or
be
even
like the
win.
winner. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah, like that's kind of the whole point is it's always telling like the student of the year is telling us like how you improved yourself both as like a student but as an individual with
yeah,
like the drive and energy that you got from
yeah.
seeing your business partner in the challenge program and all these other people. So it's like part of that is if you were the top 10 and you were really mad that you didn't make it into the top 3, that could be part of your application
Sure.
being like I tried so hard and I didn't
Hard.
make it this time. I am putting everything into
Exactly.
it.
And so much can happen in a year, right? I mean,
Oh,
from
absolutely.
and that happened for me. I mean, I had, a life-saving surgery in
Yeah.
that time frame, that really changed me and that brought a different perspective to my application into why
Hmm.
I was into community service and all these other different sorts of things in life. And I think that's really what fueled me for my application
Yeah.
was, you're given a second chance in life. You don't get those often. So
Yeah.
you really have to give it your all. So that's kind of where I came from with that.
Yeah, and that's a great transition too. Speaking of, because like for this interview, I wanted to like watch your video because I like
Yeah.
watched all of them when I first got here, which
Oh my
was
gosh, I
amazing.
look so small. I
High
look back,
power.
I'm like, I don't even recognize myself. I love the video. I don't like what I look like, but it's okay.
You're like, can we green
Can,
screen in
can
some
we
of my
can
new
we screen
looks?
to me now? Can we screen to
Yeah.
me now?
But whenever I was watching that, one of the big things was you had tackled this entrapment syndrome
Hmm.
that was part of like your medical issue. And one
Yeah.
thing that really spoke out to me in the video because I have been lucky to never have any medical, really like large scale medical scares or anything.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of our like student of the years, even this year, have talked about even like small scale medical scares that really um, put them into positions that was like really scary.
Yeah.
And so whenever I was watching your video, it was crazy hearing the one part of your video where you kind of talked about at one point they thought that you might have had was it blood cancer?
Yeah. A childhood blood
And they
cancer.
put you in the
They
chemo
they
ward for a little bit.
they were going to transfer me to oncology, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because my entrapment syndrome is not common. It's very rare.
Yeah.
So when I was at Children's for what the few weeks that I was,
Mm-hmm.
and they had no idea. Like it was, they were testing me for everything possible. They could not figure out what was wrong, but my white blood cells were elevated. I mean, everything was pointing that direction, if you will.
Yeah.
Thank God it was not. But it was also something very serious on the other
Mm-hmm.
hand. So, it was a whole nother fight. When you're
Yeah.
in that position, it's like fight or flight mode, kind of.
Yeah.
And I just had to get through it. I mean,
Yeah.
it was one of the scariest moments of my life. But I always tell people this all the time is if there's anything I could take away from the experience is that I'm grateful.
Yeah.
I mean, not many people, like I said, get a second chance, and
Mm-hmm.
I've taken that since that moment, and I don't take life for granted, and I do what I love. I'm passionate about what I do now, and I travel the
Yes.
world, and I love life, and everyone should love
Yes.
life.
Yeah, no, and I think that that's so beautiful because yeah, obviously, finding out that it wasn't cancer is very like that's very lucky for you because cancer
Yeah,
is a very difficult thing.
yeah.
But even entrapment syndrome being a very rare disease, that's
Hmm.
like still very scary because it's like a very rare disease that not many people deal with. So there's not
Hmm.
a ton of like research and like support around it.
Yeah.
so I know all that can be scary. So how has that disease evolved since then? Like you are looking great and you seem to be in very
Thank
good
you.
health, which is very good. But I'm just curious on how that has like still affected you today.
Well, I think for me, then it affected me in
Mm,
the sense of my physical well-being because
yeah.
obviously of my surgeries. And I was a swimmer all throughout high school. So
Mm,
the one really big downside for me was I had to stop competing completely, which really took a toll on me because I had just gotten a school record for swimming on the board.
mm,
So it was, I was in that momentum. I was considering, swimming at the collegiate level.
yeah.
And then just I was always a very fit person. I was always in sports growing up too. So
Hmm.
I, I felt like from then to college, I really had a decline in my physical health.
Mm,
And that took a toll on me. It took a toll on my mental health,
yeah.
which also is something really important that isn't talked about a lot. And going in now into adulthood, it's gotten better. There are points like you would never notice this, but I'm so used to it. Like if I'm even walking for more than like 5 minutes, my foot really starts to hurt.
Oh.
So like I can't really run. I've really tried, but it's not.
Oh.
I can't run like long distances. Not that I can't like breathe or anything. It's just it's from the
Yeah.
pain, like the arch of my foot. Because
Yeah.
I've had like permanent nerve damage from the loss of blood flow. So like half
Oh,
of my,
okay.
like pretty much like half of the side of my right foot is just like numb.
Yeah, it just
Um,
has lots of issues with that.
yeah, so, but now I mean, I'm working out a lot more. I'm eating a lot better. I've definitely seen so much more improvement in the strength of my legs. And they stripped like some of the muscle in my legs. So I lost some of
Mm.
like my calf muscle because that's what was pinching my artery, which caused my blood clots,
Oh, okay.
which is what entrapment syndrome is.
Yes.
So yeah, it's gotten better. I wouldn't say it's gotten any worse, but it
Mhm.
definitely is having like long-term effects on me. But
Yeah.
you push through just like with anything and you keep going. So, but
I was
I'm good.
about to say, and even through all that, I'm sure that like most people that see you have seen you at work, have seen you out in like normal life, they probably
Yeah,
would have never even knew that you went
no.
through all of that
I
because
mean,
you like deal with it all.
the other, like a few months ago, I was
Hmm.
walking because I live in Miami, so I go to the beach often.
Okay,
So
yeah. Well, of
I'm
course, yeah.
yeah. So I have two identical scars on the back of my legs from my
Oh, okay.
surgeries. They look the same, like
Hmm.
identical. And this little girl came up to me and she was like, "Oh my gosh, did you survive a shark attack?" And I was so confused. I was like, what is she talking about? And the mom was like, I'm so sorry. And she's like pointing, and I'm like, oh, my scars. I was like, yeah, I tackled a bull shark.
There, yeah, yeah.
So
That's
now
what I was
that's
gonna
my new
say. You have
motto.
to play it up. Yeah.
If anyone asks, I'm a shark attack survivor. You'll see my new documentary coming out this fall.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's so funny. That's so good for that little girl too, because now that like she is like, oh my gosh, you could survive anything. Like if you could survive a shark attack,
Yes,
you can make it through
yes.
anything.
The mom was cracking up. It was a whole moment, but yeah, it's been good. Needless to
Yeah.
say, I do my checkups. I've been in great health. I'm working out a lot more. I'm trying to get back into like my physical health being
Hmm.
a top priority. So yeah.
Yeah. No, that is so good though. And that's like I think that's such a great lesson because every once in a while, especially when you're young,
Mhm,
even like minor health issues or like facing some stuff like that can be so like hard because
mhm,
in the world we like push lots of like young individuals to need to be perfect.
mhm.
And so like as soon as you have one health issue, you're not perfect anymore. And
Correct.
now like on top of you always having these unrealistic goals for yourself, now there's just this another thing weighing you down. And
Yeah.
I think that's so difficult for so many like younger students because like that's all we see is people with like perfect bodies, perfect teeth, everything on social media, and it's just so difficult to sometimes separate that and be like everybody's perfect after Photoshop
Yeah.
gets a hold of them,
Correct. And it's hard to meet those standards when, that's what social media puts on us. But I
Yeah,
think it's also important for programs like obviously like TCP. They embrace everyone. You know what I mean? It's wherever you're from, wherever you come from, however you were raised. I feel like a program like this really brings people together, and
yeah.
allows them to share their story, which is really beautiful. And not a lot of people have that platform or that ability to do so. So
Yeah, and I feel like social media is slowly even getting there because on our social media, we always make sure to feature so many different students from all of our schools. So you
Yeah.
get to see lots of different faces and people from all over, which is so nice.
Hmm.
But slowly, I think social media is like getting there. I'm happy that
Yeah.
like mental health is becoming so much more common because now I've noticed that they try to show a lot more just normal people with slight imperfections because there's like some deep beauty that comes from your
Yeah.
imperfections. Like imperfections are really what make every
Make it work.
individual so beautiful in themselves. You know,
Yeah. Completely. I
that's
completely
so
agree.
important. So big thing this year in this episode, if everything goes as planned, should be premiering during Pride Month. So Pride Month, everybody,
Woohoo!
yeah. So you talked in your video about being a part of the LGBTQIA plus community,
Hmm.
um, and struggling through that in high school. And I know that we have a lot of students that have talked to us, reached out to us on social media, and talked to us at our assemblies and stuff, and talked about being in the community, some having more difficult times than others. Luckily,
Hmm.
it's been very nice to hear collections of students at different schools who actually have like clubs and other things set up for it so that
Hmm.
they have this community. But sadly, not all schools are like that. Not all students have those opportunities. So, how has it been like coming out of high school? How has it been in the adult world? Dealing with being a part of the LGBTQ, how has it like affected your daily life, and has it like gotten a lot better since you were in high school? Has it stayed about the same? What has like your experience been like?
I think coming from high school to now, it's just I came out at a very young age. I was 14.
Mm-hmm.
So it was crazy to think that it's been like 9 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I think coming from high school or school in general and leaving PA and coming to Miami, that was a really big driving force for me, was to find that sense of community. Because I really didn't feel like I had it growing up.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a gay straight alliance at school, like you were saying. Some of these schools
Yeah.
have clubs, whatever it may be. We did not have that where I was. I didn't really have many friends that were in the community. I mean, I had a few, but a lot of people were afraid. They were scared to be
Mm-hmm.
themselves, especially, I grew up in a very small town. So, it was not easy to adjust to that environment. And it's never easy in general. So coming here into adulthood, I've really embraced who I am. I absolutely love living here. I've made so many good friends in the community. I've done so many
Mm-hmm.
outreach events. I just think the environment of where I'm at and surrounded by the community is just such a beautiful thing. And I think that like the events that they have foundations here. They
Oh.
also have like there's this place that's called Latino Salud, which is really great for helping people with anything regarding to like HIV medication or anything it might be. There's just so many different programs that I've been involved with and helping
Yeah.
that really make a difference, which is I think a driving force into something that has spoken with me with the challenge program through community service, which was mainly
Mm-hmm.
what my focus was. So I feel like I've now been able to take my own identity and really be able to use it for good
Yeah.
and kind of create that sense of community here. And it's just a beautiful thing. And I think my greatest advice is just to be the most authentic version of yourself. I think I said this long ago in my speech when I had won. It truly is probably one of the most beautiful things and one of the most rewarding things in life is to be who you are. And you should never apologize for that. As long as you're doing good and you're being yourself, I think that, is one of the most powerful things in life. So being a part of the
Yeah.
community has been such a blessing. Um, and yeah, if I could look back at 14-year-old Cole to now, I would just smile and just say it's all gonna be worth it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, and that's so beautiful. And I'm like very happy to hear that because I think that that is what a lot of students are fearful of whenever they come
Hmm.
out in high school and don't have a strong support system is
Hmm.
that they're scared and it becomes really difficult for them because they think that that is like how it's always going to be. And they
Yeah.
don't think that there's anything better than that.
Hmm.
So I think it is terrific for them to hear of somebody who like came out in high school grew up with a not very strong or like great support system around him,
Mm.
and then actually found a strong and beautiful support system as he like
Yeah,
got into the world and started to evolve. I
yeah,
think that
and
is so encouraging for any students who are like trying to work through that right now.
no, I completely agree. And I mean, I had some very, very close friends in high school that were so supportive of me, and my family was very supportive of me. But I think my biggest takeaway is to anyone that identifies in the community, or is just looking for that right moment to come out or be who they are. I think it really is, to remember, not everyone is going to like you. Not everyone is going to agree with you. Not everyone is going to want to be surrounded by you, and that's okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that, at the end of the day, you remember who you are. I think that's just so important, and I think that you should always take that step and that leap of faith, to be the most authentic version of yourself, because at the end of the day, that's who you are. So.
Yes, yeah, I think that is so beautiful. And I always even mention to people um, that sometimes there's a certain coalition in it too of like even being an ally in the
Mhm.
LGBTQ community.
Mhm.
Because there's sometimes parts of that too where it helps a lot to like belong to something. And
Mhm.
so even if you are like a more open-minded person that just wants to be like supportive of the community but you're not a part of the community,
Yeah.
I think that is like good to voice as well because that also creates like a protective area for people who are in the community in your school. And so they know that there are like people who are like outwardly spoken being like, "Hey, I want to be your friend, like it's okay." you know?
Correct. Like, yeah, and like being an ally is so important. I mean, if I didn't have my friends, I don't know where I would be. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And the teachers and TCP. I mean,
Mhm.
TCP voiced my story at such a young age, which to me is so inspiring and meaningful, and is something I'm very, very thankful for. And I think that this goes to show the the type of community that TCP builds. And I think it's really, really, really important that the world sees that and that they see your platform, because I do, and there's, thousands of students in the area that see this that are inspired
Yeah.
by it. So yeah, for me, I'm really thankful.
Yeah, and I'm very excited for us to like have fun this Pride Month. I don't know when
Yes.
this episode will be airing during Pride Month, but
Yes.
I'm very excited because I think Pride Month is very like instrumental to kind of what our mission statement is because we're for all students.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the like problems with the LGBTQ community and people like not feeling accepted are honestly just a problem with like most minority groups. Like any
Correct.
minority group,
Hmm.
sometimes you can feel so isolated, especially if you don't have fellow people that are in that
Hmm.
around you. And sometimes that's a big problem with smaller schools is that you don't have a lot of people that might look like you, act like you, be like you.
Yeah. Same. I
Um,
mean, went for me. So.
yeah, yeah, and so I hope that TCP reminds all students that like just because nobody around you directly may look, act, or seem like you,
Hmm.
like first of all, that makes you beautiful as a person because you're unique from everybody around you.
Yeah.
But second, there's always people out there like supporting you and
Correct.
being there for you,
Yeah. And
which is
TCP
like
is
so
bringing
important.
them that sense of community, which is a beautiful
Yes,
thing.
yeah. Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah.
That's such a nice little message.
That's so
I was like,
nice.
oh, yeah.
Oh my
So
gosh.
now tailoring it back a little bit. So I wanted to explore this because lots of students like ask
Uh-huh.
us like, what will be important in their future. So TCP, you know about our 5 award categories. You said
Mm-hmm.
community service is like one of your was what you were working towards.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so of our 5 award categories and things that you might have learned from us or your business partner, have any of those like applied as you've gotten into the workforce or continued to grow as an adult or expanded as a person as
I
you've
would,
like grown up?
yeah, for sure. I would say like I really honed in on academic excellence and community service personally.
Mm,
So I think that me just being a go-getter in school and just really knuckling down, studying really helped me in college. And it's really helped me in the workforce because I'm a very organized person.
mhm.
I feel like before I was doing so much in high school, I was just like all over the place,
Yeah.
But now I feel like I'm a lot more refined.
Yeah.
I go into the office and pretty much in a suit every single day. I come in, I sit down, I have my morning coffee, and I get to work. So I feel like I've just become very organized, and I feel like that's just a trait that I have learned over time since being so focused and determined in high school through academic excellence. But in the community service route through TCP, I feel like I've really learned to embrace so many different things, like in regards to what is community service. Even I honestly think even simply just opening a door for someone is community service. It's
Oh,
honestly
absolutely.
a
Yeah.
kind gesture just like that goes a long way in making someone's day. And
Yeah.
really what community service is making a difference. You can
Yeah.
make a difference in anyone's life by doing the most simplest thing, like opening a door. So I feel like for me, I just learned to appreciate kindness and honesty and integrity. And I really have led that into my work and a little bit of background. I mean, I work in property management, so I do a lot with
Hmm.
like fair housing, and I deal a lot with, people that come from all over the world, different backgrounds,
Hmm.
internationally, live here in Miami, all over the US. So I'm dealing with people from all walks of life that bring a new, like a new perspective. And I'm dealing with their life, their home. So
Yeah.
I feel like it really has transformed me into understanding and honestly embracing people from all different cultures. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I feel like that's where my community service aspect has really come in. And then, like I said, leading back to like some of the LGBTQ organizations and nonprofits around here that I have been a part of in some way, I feel like that's kind of where it leaned in as well.
Yeah, and I think yeah, that is a great I have like never thought about talking about that before actually. But that's a great like aspect is like obviously to win the community service award or win like our commitment to community service competition that we have now and stuff like that, you have to have like recorded hours in community service.
Yes.
But part of building that mentality so that those hours don't feel cumbersome and just feel like rewarding and like deeper to you is doing the small acts of community service that you can't record on a sheet, but make a difference, like opening a door, thinking about others, trying to be like proactive in helping others.
Hmm.
Getting into that mentality shows you how rewarding it can be to like help others, so that
Yeah.
whenever you do those big things like serve at a soup kitchen, volunteer at a fire station, etc., it makes you remember what you're working towards and like why it's awarding is because you're like helping other human beings who are just trying to make it through their day just like you, you know?
Correct, correct. And I mean, I just the littlest thing, like things you don't think of in the moment can make such a difference. I mean, like you were
Yeah.
saying, just simply volunteering for an event or volunteering to pick up like litter on the side of the road. You're helping
Mhm.
the environment. I mean, it's a group effort. I mean, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like making a difference in your community is a group effort. And I just think something so small can go such a long way.
Yeah. Yeah, we had this thing, and this is so funny, but we had this thing in like Davidsville where I used to go to school,
Hmm.
where the school would volunteer and pick up all the trash like in the entire town pretty much
Yeah,
because it's like a square.
square.
It's a very small town.
Yeah.
And one thing that I thought about whenever I started working here was part of that is like you are helping the environment and you're keeping like garbage out of the ecosystem, which helps everything to thrive and be healthy. But also on the mental health aspect, whenever I was coming to school every day to see the clean greenery, like the beautiful roads that had no trash on them, like all this
Hmm.
stuff, it really helps you to be like, wow, it's such a nice day out because you just
Yeah.
get to see like greenery without the pollution of humans. Like
Yeah.
it's just so beautiful. And so not only are you like helping the environment, but you're helping everybody to kind of
Yeah.
like give them like if they're having a bad day and then they kind of like look out back and forth on their drive and all the streets look nice, the town seems clean, like it just brings you this little bright like the world is so nice today,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, your environment, I mean, plays a really key part in your mental health too. I mean, what you're surrounded by, who you're surrounded by, plays a really important part in that. So I
Yeah.
think like what you're saying is it's so true. I mean, something so small can mean something so big to someone else. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or change their day. Turn that frown
Yeah.
upside down, if you will. But yeah.
That's so awesome. So yeah, and I love that those like two categories have really stuck with you: community service and academic excellence. Like those are like two great categories, and it like goes to show you that like first of all, even as an adult, you still give back to your community.
Hmm.
And I'm sure sometimes it's not always easy. Sometimes you're tired when you have to go volunteer
Yeah.
for stuff. Sometimes you aren't having the best day and you still have to go
No.
volunteer for stuff. But at the end of the day, it just helps to like bring this like brightness and joy to you, and then
Hmm.
sometimes when you are having a bad day, you can just remember that like you've really helped out people
Yeah,
both in your local community, but just the human race in general, because you've like
yeah,
helped improve people's days, you know.
of course. Yeah, I completely agree.
That is so beautiful. So yeah, I think that is everything. So usually I give like the last few minutes of the interview in case you want to say anything to the students directly, or you want to say anything to like future student of the year winners since you
Hmm.
were one, or anything like that. I want to open the floor up so you
Well,
can say whatever's on your heart.
I think I'll do one to the students and one to whoever is the next student of the year or whoever has won in past. Um, I think to students out there, being a part of TCP is something special. It's one of a kind. It's an opportunity that not a lot of people have. Like I said earlier in the podcast about, me going to college admissions and then being like, what is this? Because they're interested. You know what I mean? So it's an opportunity that not a lot of students in other areas of the US or even PA have as an opportunity for them. So you really need to take advantage of it. And I think it really instills core values in your own life that go far beyond. Because it's more than just an award. It's more than just a monetary value. It's a life changing experience. It really is. If you take the mission of what TCP is trying to accomplish with students, it is life changing. So I think to all the students out there, whether you're really trying to go for an award, even if you don't win an award or any type of monetary cash value. I think the values that the program is instilling in your community and in your school are important. And I think that really TCP just wants you to embrace those values and go out there and make a difference, right? So, my greatest advice to you is to try try your best to do whatever it is that you want to do with any of the five categories. Even one small leap can make a big jump in your own life. So I think that really trying to make a difference in yourself and go out there and be a better you is so important. And I think being a part of this program will really change your life because it did for me. And switching on over to the future TCP Student of the Year, or I think that use that year wisely. That's my greatest advice, is to really take advantage of the opportunity that's in front of you. You won this award in future for a reason. You either have inspired someone, you have made a difference definitely in your own life, and you have really been able to share your story and create a vision for what it is you want to do and what it is that you are looking to accomplish in your life. So my greatest advice, I guess I should say, not accomplishment, um, would be to simply keep going and to take advantage of that year and and keep going. That would be my advice. And
Yeah.
not, like I said, nothing's more important than taking up space in life. And I think that, you being a part of something meaningful to you is so important. So that
Yeah.
would be my advice.
Yeah, and it's so funny. There is like a big thing where like some of our like highlight student of the years, and obviously all of our student of the years have been
Yeah.
like great and moved on to a lot of success. But obviously, like you, our 2022 student of the year, Kaylee Frederick, and even our most recent student of the year, Ryan, you all have like taken advantage of student of the year to like both speak out your voice, but also interact with a lot with TCP,
Hmm.
and that has seemed to like bring you all so much success because like obviously we push for all of our like everybody who's in the challenge program, but
Yeah.
obviously our student of the years of our student of the years want our help, our support, whatever they need. We obviously give that to them in strides because they've worked so hard to get that award.
Yeah.
But of course all students who need help from the challenge program and are at a challenge program school, or just need help from the challenge program and they might be at an aspiring school or
Hmm.
anything like that, we love being able to support and help students in general.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, they all come to mind, like you and Kaylee especially have like stayed connected with us and like used us as cross
Yeah.
references and
It
keeping
becomes a
communication.
family. I mean,
Yeah.
at least for me personally, Barb, the president of TCP, is just like an amazing human being,
Oh
honestly.
yeah. She has a
Um,
great heart and a great soul,
yes,
honestly.
and she changed my life. I will never forget. the moment after I won, and I was a mess. You could watch the videos back. I was crying, and I know it seems like, oh my gosh, she's crying, but it really was a big deal. It was
Yeah.
something I never thought would happen, but did. And I just think it's full proof that, like, even if you don't see it in yourself, other people see it in you.
Yeah.
And Barb is one of those people that just always supported me and has always, given me so many words of encouragement. Same with Mel.
Yeah.
Um, some other people might not know these names I'm throwing around, but
Yeah, you're good.
they're a part of the TCP family.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
Barb and Mel, most of the students have probably at
yeah,
least seen them once. I made them appear in a
yeah.
TikTok or other.
But they really changed my life, and even other staff members that worked for TCP prior that may no longer, I've kept in contact with. They've always stayed updated on my life and like asking me how I'm doing and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So it's created a family and a sense of friendship that I didn't have before, and so I feel like it's really become for me just that sense. It's become another sense of community. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's inside outside too because I agree with you. Like coming from other workplaces and stuff, even when I started working here, the environment between employees is like really beautiful and open
Yeah.
because it's always a little scary, especially like as as a person of the LGBTQ as well. Sometimes when you walk into a workplace, you're not always
You
sure
never
how it's gonna
know.
be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like walked in very like timidly and I'm a little bit uh loud
Reserved.
and bearish on
Yeah,
occasion.
yeah.
Well, I
You,
can be loud and
yeah.
bearish.
Well, you probably came in a little reserved,
Oh
because you
yeah,
didn't know
absolutely.
how it was going to be. But in my
Yeah.
opinion, you're in one of the best places because
Yeah, that's what I
they're
mean. I'm very loud and
they're
bearish, and I'm
amazing.
not always easy to handle. But everybody on the staff here
The-
does a great job of dealing with it.
That's so funny.
um, but it is so beautiful, and I'm happy that that carries out to all of our students. That like
Hmm.
our positive culture and our inclusive culture carries out to all of our students, including the student of the year, but
Hmm.
also including all of our students, including like our student influencers, student
Yeah.
award winners, like everybody. We just
Hmm.
try to be very inclusive and courteous and caring to all the students that are involved with TCB.
Yeah. And that's TCP, everyone.
That's easy. Yeah, yeah. This is our pitch.
Yeah. So join now.
But yeah,
Donate online.
yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, if you go to tcp.org, there is a donate button at the top. Go ahead,
Yeah.
top
And
in
I'm sure
there.
if you dig a little bit, you'll see my smiling face somewhere in
Yes, in the Student
places.
of the Year tab.
But yeah,
But yeah, thank you so much, Cole, for this
of
interview.
course. It was
I'm
a
super
pleasure.
excited to feature this along with all of our like Pride Month and enjoyable things. That's so exciting. And I'm sure that Barb's gonna love hearing how much she's changed your life.
She's a sweetheart. I love you, Barb.
Yes. Yeah, she is great. She is like the most wonderful like head of the company that we could ever have. We are so thankful for her. But yeah, thank you so much,
Of
Cole. We're so
course, of
excited to
course.
update you. Hopefully, we'll have a 10-year update,
Yeah,
which will be
I
super
mean,
exciting.
oh my gosh, I can't rush my life by
Yeah,
that fast. I'll be
yeah, you
30.
gotta get start setting some goals so you have some stuff to show off.
Yep. Hopefully, a few more plaques to add to the wall.
Yes.
No, I have my trophies. Actually, it's in the living room, but it's over. It's over
Oh, there you
there.
go. Oh, that's so
And
nice.
in
Oh,
my
so
little
you still
picture
kept your
board.
Student of the Year trophy?
Yeah, and I have my
Oh,
my vision board, the boards that they set up. Like,
yes.
I don't know if they still do that, but they have
Yes,
like
we
boards
do.
with
Yeah,
your
yeah,
like,
yeah. We call them just like Student of the Year feature boards now.
yeah,
But
those.
yeah,
I
with
still
your
have
like
mine.
goals.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, that's
I
so
still have that. I
nice.
kept everything.
That is so awesome, though, and
Yeah,
it's crazy that it traveled down to Florida with
yeah,
you.
yeah. Even the pamphlet from the
Oh,
dinner, the
that's
night of
so
the gala.
beautiful.
I still have that.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
It's a little
Well, there you
memento.
go, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you go, everybody. Keep your trophies.
Yeah, keep your trophies tight. But thank you so much for having me. I appreciated it, and I loved talking about TCP and how it inspires the community in Western PA.